Thokozani Mogogo, Thokozani Mandabadala. Welcome to my channel. I am Gogo Gobi's Farm of Gogo Gobi's Farm Evocations. Ibala Lagadala. So today what are we going to be doing? I'm just going to be doing it's more of a story time, just talking about myself. You know, with the teachings you find that sometimes your own story also helps to unravel and unlock something for someone. So I'm hoping what I'm gonna be sharing is going to do that for someone. But before we go on, please don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. You know you don't wanna miss out when I upload or when I go live. So I'm just going to be talking about my journey generally. This is the first installment. I know I always do installments and I never go back to the follow-up. Bogogo, you have to forgive me. Abogogo, they just have their own way of doing things. Sometimes you want to do something now and in them they are saying, it's not yet time. Just wait, there's something else, another layer that we want to add. But I'm just going to be talking about my journey, and I made some notes, just some pointers so that I don't leave out anything, you know, when I go on a tangent. So, a tandem. So I just have a few notes that every once in a while I'll be, you know, looking to the side just to check which point now I want to continue or to touch on. So what's the first one? So the whole story is my journey, intro to me and transition. So who am I? I am Andrea Nomasebe Nomatamsanga Dondolo, born in the Eastern Cape, to my wonderful parents, and I grew up with divorced parents later on, which is quite something important that I will cover later on as part of my journey, because I find that their journey kind of shaped my journey as well. Even within now my Sangoma journey, there are some elements where I needed to go and do some things for my healing and their healing. So as I was saying, some of the elements of their lives have kind of framed my journey for me, even though in the beginning I did not understand. And with each passing day, I'm learning more about the way of the ancestors and, you know, spirit in terms of framing and shaping you for their purpose and your purpose as well. Because before you were born, before you came to be the person that you are, there is an agreement, a spiritual agreement that you made when you were going to come, and you agreed that there are some things that I'm going to, when I reach earth, I'm going to fulfill this, or I'm going to help so and so. So that is part of the journey. So who am I now? Before I get to that one, I want to tackle the one of being the professional that I was, or that I still am. I'm not too sure where I am with that one right now, because everything is in the hands of the ancestors, you know, the spiritual guides. And if they say, no, you can't go, then I sit and do what they say. For instance, right now, I'm based in the Eastern Cape full time. I only go away when I have to go and do something. So that is where I'm at now. So I'm more of Isangoma than being an actor, which is what I was before, and professionally, and a life coach. Okay, the life coaching is still continuing because I'm also a spiritual mentor. So as a result, the elements of my life coaching training and qualifications, they actually coming quite handy into the journey, because you are dealing with people, you are dealing with people with emotions, you are dealing with people with dreams and aspirations, and some of those the journey kind of interferes with, and an unsettling, you know, grasp someone, and therefore you need to elevate your level of engagement and conversations with them with the understanding of life in general, not just the spirituality. Therefore, there is a call for you to be quite empathetic when you are mentoring people. And I've found the life coaching elements of my life or my profession kind of come in handy. But more than that, I have a better understanding of why I was, inspired to become a life coach, because through that work, Abokoko are also, putting in their work, and it becomes richer and deeper. And at times I even surprise myself. Of course, it's natural to be surprised because you're human, but with spirit, anything and everything is possible. So I used to be that person. I am still that person, but now what reigns more supreme is the spirituality aspect of my journey. So I work more with the healing aspects, where I'm constantly consulting and advising people, facilitating rituals, facilitating ceremonies, facilitating growth, facilitating people's journeys. So I am that bridge that allows the people to cross over. Oh, I already covered who I was before. I was an actor, an award-winning actress, a speaker. I still am, but as I said before, not at this moment, so much of that. So how long has it been that I've been a Sangoma and have known about my spiritual affinity? Well, it's been, excuse the light, it went off. It's been actually quite a while, because I've always known that there is something special about me. But whether then I understood what that means is another story. But in terms of my spiritual journey, it actually started triggering more about 2 years ago, or actually with the beginning of lockdown. We went into spaces where one could now look into things. Sorry about that, the light went off. So it was also about me understanding who I am, and then also embracing the space that as a country we were in, and finding now that, trauma triggers a lot in terms of spirituality. It heightens the awareness. So a lot of that aspect of me got heightened, and then, of course, there were also, signs that were now being stronger, even in dreams. My dreams were becoming more vivid, and also there were signs. I remember this one time there was a bat that came, and I was asking my dad, freaking out, what is this bat doing here? Of course, nature is nature, but sometimes abantu abadala will also send those kind of messages as a sign for you to say that time is up, and because if you don't heed the calling, for some people they find that things, spiral downwards. So the bed for me was one of those signs, and it freaked me out, and eventually I embraced my journey. So how long has it been that I have been a Sangoma? On 19 November, it will actually be exactly a year since I graduated. But in terms of having been on the journey, it would be 2 years, because I started that year, and then halfway through the journey at the first Pehlo where I was, then I was taken out and taken to the Pehlo where I finally graduated as a fully fledged Sangoma. And even with that, there is a story behind it, because I found that, a lot of people always talk about Pehlo hopping or Sangoma hopping, where today you are here, tomorrow you are there. Well, there's a lot of reasons why people find themselves in that situation, And before in the first Pehlo, one of the greatest fears that I had was not completing my training, and also then being told that, you cannot go to continue your initiation journey at another Pehlo if ever you stopped for it as a reason wherever you were. And that was one of my greatest fears, and one of the things that haunted me a lot when then I had to leave the, to go and await the message of Abadala or my spirit guides about the next step. Because for me, what took me out of the first special is that I found eventually that, you know, there was a lot of things that were unsettling me in terms of my journey, because now I found the focus was more on fixing my parents' their broken up journey in terms of their marriage, and also then having to relieve the traumas, and as well being now center stage of, you know, the one side wanting to justify why this happened to that side. And my dreams were just, I felt there was, it kind of felt like an infiltration that was happening, where now all the time it was no longer up dreams that were focusing on my growth, that were making me see that, okay, now I'm transitioning to the next step. But it was dreams that mostly, you know, were about the tiff between my parents, what led them there, you know, which was a beautiful thing as well, as tragic as it was, because it allowed me to close some chapters, you know. It allowed me to do some inner work and settle some things. And also now when I think about it, honestly, it would never have worked that I was, you know, going to complete everything there, because the people I was dealing with, my parents are in no talking terms. And then being spiritually, you know, reared and groomed by ugogo wam at that time, who was my father, my biological father. And the you know, in terms of the financial implications and everything, when I was on my journey, it was mostly my mom who was supporting me, you know. So now when it comes to Inkomo Kakobela and all those things, I always had those questions that who is handling what, because there was never even, you know, talks about that, you know. But when costs would come up, then I would cover them. But it always nagged me that how would we handle that, you know. And also my father being my father, that now he's supposed to be helping me with this transition. So it kind of became a bit too much. But I came to a realization and an understanding that it was necessary for me to be there to close that chapter and be able to understand that as an African child, yes, your parents, they are the ultimate, you know, in terms of representation of the elders. But now, when you have those, your own spiritual guides rising up, they take, you know, a paramount place above, you know, the parents and, you know, the elders, because they have their own voice, and even their things, it's about, they're very authoritarian in terms of doing things, in terms of handling, you know. And culturally, anything and everything that is ancestrally related is handled by an elder. But with the Dlozi work, you find that some ceremonies you have to be at the helm of them, because it's your Dlozi who is leading the process. So it kind of became a moment where now, when I was leaving, I needed to understand that I was now being given my voice, you know. I'm had to take their own place, and with understanding what happens to mentees and mentors, that you, in a way, forever under their shadow. So now in this one, there was a lot, man, because, for instance, when you come back home, being brought back home, you have to come to where you live. Now, my parents, they cannot be in the same room. It's that drastic that they cannot be in the same room. And the one being a religious believer, and the other one being an atheist, again, brings other elements into play. But those are some of the things that I will talk about later on. So it's almost been a year since I've been out of Ipehlo, been a Sangoma. And how long did it take? Well, it's been a 2-year process. How, when, where, and why? How did I get to a Pehlweni? The first Phehlo, it was my grandmother who came and said, I must prepare. My father is coming to get me. And then another dream was where we were going to get my things with my dad's wife to go and prepare, you know. And so then I ended up going. In terms of going, normally someone, an elder from the family, would take you